Saigon, 11th of November, 1938, the 20th anniversary of Armistice Day. French colonial forces marched to honor the dead of the Great War. It is only 2 decades since the end of a war that was supposed to end all wars, during which France suffered over 4 million casualties. Saigon journalist Nguyen Lacroix, a bystander.
The troops were very impressive in their fine uniforms. Their weapons and medals shone in the bright sunlight. There was lots of cheering, but most of the people there had a lot to gain from the French occupation. In the countryside, it was different.
In less than a year, the world will once more be engulfed in global conflict.
We were told that a war was coming in Europe. We hoped that would mean the French would leave us in peace.
Saigon has all the trappings of the colonial good life. But the French authorities treat dissent ruthlessly. By 1951, 100,000 Vietnamese are fighting with French forces against the Viet Minh. March 1953, Saigon. Marshal of France Alphonse Juin and Commander of French forces in Indochina, Raoul Salan, greet US General Mark Clark, United Nations Supreme Commander in the Far East. Also present is Chief of Staff of the Vietnamese Army, Nguyen Van Hin. The United States is funding 80% of the French war effort. The Viet Minh's resources are coming directly from the Soviet Union and Mao Zedong's new communist regime in China. In May 1953, the French replaced General Salan with General Henri Eugène Navarre. He immediately makes a momentous decision to create a major defensive position in the northwest of Vietnam, close to the Laos border. It is called Dien Bien Phu. Navarre orders the airlift of a large force from the Gia Lam Air Base in Hanoi and Gap Ba in Haiphong. Viet Minh officer Ngo Van Chu watches as the French forces land.
We knew they were the best they had. Paratroopers, legionnaires. The battle would be hard. I realized that Dien Bien Phu would make or break us.
US-supplied B-26 bombers drop napalm on enemy positions. The French garrison below is outnumbered 4-1 by a Viet Minh army 50,000 strong, which completely encircles it. General Giap, late November 1953. Soviet director Roman Karman is given total access to Giap's army to help him tell the story of the battle. General Giap.
I ordered our 351st Engineering Artillery Division to toil day and night to widen the 82-kilometer trail to Dien Bien Phu for our motorized vehicles. Then they built a 15-kilometer track through the mountains so we could haul our artillery to the front by hand.
The French appoint Colonel Christian de Castries as commander of Dien Bien Phu. Amid gruesome scenes, Reminiscent of the trench warfare and mass infantry attacks of the First World War, the death toll rises. There are countless acts of heroism on both sides as the Battle of Dien Bien Phu becomes part of military folklore. It also becomes a glorious victory for the Viet Minh and a shameful defeat for the French. French resistance ends on May 7th. Giap orders a full-scale infantry attack. De Castries radios Colonel Conyi at headquarters in Hanoi. The Viets are everywhere. The situation is very grave. I feel the end is approaching. Late in the afternoon, Giap hears the fateful news from his 312th Division.
All enemy soldiers in the command post have surrendered. We have arrested De Castries.
French commander De Castries, who has been promoted to Brigadier General during the battle, becomes a prisoner of war. He will be released after 4 months. One of the lucky ones. 1,500 men under his command are dead. Several thousand more are wounded. The Red Cross evacuates a fortunate few hundred of the Viet Minh's 10,000 prisoners. But most are force-marched to prisoner of war camps hundreds of kilometers away. Less than 4,000 will survive to be repatriated to France. Viet Minh casualties are 15,000 wounded and 8,000 dead. After decades of colonial rule, the French leave Indochina. The United States supports the appointment of Ngo Dinh Diem as ruler of the new South Vietnam. Diem takes control of the French colonial army, the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, the ARVN. Ho Chi Minh's revolutionary government introduces draconian Stalinist economic reforms and applies communist principles ruthlessly. People are mobilized for huge reconstruction programs. Saigon journalist Nguyen Lacroix.
Hundreds of thousands of people came south, especially anyone with land, money or status. Most of the Catholic population left as well. Uncle Ho was undoubtedly a nationalist hero, but his revolutionary government was totally ruthless. Anyone who opposed it was re-educated, which usually meant they were eliminated.
An official announcement from the government of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, Hanoi, December 1955.
During the last 100 days, 100,000 persons belonging to all social classes have participated in the interrogation of landlords of villages surrounding the capital.
The South is also suffering widespread social upheaval and violence. Nguyen Lacroix.
We had our own problems in the South. Violence from competing religions and organized crime. But Diem stamped it out. he got rid of Emperor Baodai and made himself head of state, and with the help of the Americans, imposed his regime on the South.
It soon becomes apparent that elections agreed to in the Geneva Accords will not happen, and that the division of Vietnam at the 17th parallel will become permanent.